Hello and welcome to Fair But Firm. My name is Joe Cortez, former international boxing referee from Las Vegas, Nevada. Hey guys, this past weekend, Saturday night, we had an amazing night of boxing, not in the ring, but at the Monte Carlo Hotel where we held the first annual induction of the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. And that night was filled with nothing but great champions. And I'll tell you right now, some of the champions that were there and inducted were Larry Holmes, Mike Tyson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Oscar de la Hoya, Julio Cesar Chavez, Mike McCullum, and may he rest in peace, the great Diego Corrales. It was an amazing night of boxing, and I can tell you that that night of boxing was very special because not only was it the first induction in the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, but you know, it's about time that somebody put a Hall of Fame together in the boxing capital of the world. I mean, never has there been a Hall of Fame in Nevada for boxing, and the great commentator, Rich Marotta, was brilliant enough to put the whole package together, and it was an amazing night. I mean, everything was first class. The setup, the tables, the room itself, I mean, it was just fantastic. And Rich Marotta had all the inductees come up, and I just mentioned some of the boxers, but we also had Don King, Bob Arum, Mark Ratner, Dr. Nave, Sig Rogich, and myself, Joe Cortez, and the great Bills Lanes, very well deserving of the induction. And Bills Lanes was a great referee so many great fights, and he had a brilliant career. And unfortunately, as you all know, he had not doing well with his health. He had a stroke about 12 years ago, but he managed to make it. And I was also up in Canastota, New York this past June, where he got inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame as well. And it was an honor to be with the great Mills Lane. Richard Steele was there himself, but Richard was not inducted for the simple reason, not that he didn't qualify, but he's on the board. So if you're on the board, you're not able to be one of the inductees. But you know what? We're going to see if we can change that around next year. Have him I'm going to tell, listen, Richard, why don't you just resign for 5 months, get inducted into the Hall of Fame, which you got to be in there, and then we'll bring you back on board. So that may not be a way to get around going in the back door, you know, because Richard Steele is also very well deserving of an award to be inducted into the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame. And, you know, it was nice to see promoters, Don King and Bar Arum, hugging, you know, for photo shoots and talking about one another while they were at the stand doing the acceptance speech. Mike Tyson did a nice speech. Floyd Mayweather got the Fighter of the Year award, and that was very well deserving as well because, you know, he has really raised the bar in boxing, and he's the most paid, the highest paid athlete in any sport in history. So he got his award for Fighter of the Year, and it was really a great honor that night. What can I tell you? We're looking forward to 2014 and see which are going to be the new inductees. And I hope that they get, like I said, Richard Steele in there. I hope they get Boza Edwards in there, who was that night there as one of the guests. I hope they get Leon Spinks, because Leon Spinks, you know, he only fought for the title once, but you know what? He beat the greatest, Muhammad Ali, back in 1978. He won the Olympic gold medals in 1976 along with his brother Michael, and he was also a Marine. He was in the Marines, so you know, a guy that did good for his country in the Marines. He served for his country. He won the gold medal and beat the greatest Muhammad Ali. So don't you think that he deserves to be in some kind of Hall of Fame? Let's put him in the Nevada Hall of Fame. So let's see what happens for next year. Now this past weekend we had a quickie knockout. And I'm talking about a quickie knockout. We had Deontay Wilder, who's undefeated. He was the last medalist in I think 2 Olympic Games ago. And he's 28-0 with 28 knockouts. I mean, that's great. He's up and coming. He's about 25 years old, and he beat a former heavyweight champion, Siarhei Liakhovich, and former champion in the heavyweight division. Didn't last so long, but at least Wilder now got a little more credit to his record because he beat a former heavyweight champion, knocked him out in one round. I mean, Wilder is like 6'7". You know, he used to be a basketball player, but hurt his knee. He was not able to continue, so he jumped sports real quick, went into boxing, and I think he's still a little on the green side, but you know, in due time, he will develop to be a decent fighter. And I think that maybe that'll be the hope for the United States to finally get another heavyweight champion. But it was too quick of a knockout for us to determine how good he really looked or could have looked that night. It was like one round. I mean, how much can you show one round? But it was good to see Wilder win on a knockout first round. And going back to boxing, in the up-and-coming fights, we have again September 14th, Floyd Mayweather against Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo Alvarez is, like I said before, a young, tough, hungry fighter. Hungry in the sense that he wants to be one of the greatest, and nobody's been able to wipe out Mayweather's record to make it put a one loss on there. Mayweather's still undefeated. Mayweather has great talents. I think Mayweather's 36 years old, but I can't say 36 years old. He's 36 years young. You see, because some people are older 36, and I mean, I wish I was 36 and consider myself old. But in boxing, when you're 36, you're considered old. But Mayweather fights like a 22-year-old. He keeps himself in good physical condition at all times. He's mentally ready, and he's physically ready. And you know, he can punch. He's a puncher. He has a good knockout record as well. But he's not the kind of fighter that will knock you out with one punch right off the get-go. He'll knock you out in the later rounds, and that's what he's hoping will happen with Canelo. That fatigue will set in and probably finish him off in the later rounds. But again, Canelo Alvarez has a great punch. He has a good right hand punch. Like I said before, he put down Austin Trout, who was never down before. Put him down, and he knocked out Joselito Lopez with a body shot. So Canelo has some good punching power to the body and to the head. And for a young 22-year-old to have good body punching the way he does, I remember Julio Cesar Chavez was one of the greatest with the left hook to the body. But when you say one of the greatest hooks to the body, a body puncher, you know, you can't say that too loud around Mike McCollum. Because Mike McCollum, they know him as the body snatcher. And he was a great body puncher. And I remember Mike McCollum knocking out so many of his opponents to the body. They say you kill the body, the head dies, and that is true. I think I would rather get hit to the head than get hit to a good body shot. It takes everything out of you. Your legs go, you know, everything just fatigues. That's why they tell these fighters in the early rounds, I'm going to the body, you know, get your opponent, hit him to the body, because you get him a little weak, and he feels like he's losing it. And the fatigue sets in quick because it's like a vacuum. Your lungs, everything just collapses on you. And when you get hit with a body shot, let me tell you, it's not a pain, but it feels like you're suffocating to death. It feels like when you get down on a body shot, very few fighters get up from a body shot. And those that do it just because maybe they didn't get caught with that punch at the right way it should be. Maybe they got caught a little bit on the side, but they caught part of the liver and knocked the wind out of your butt. These fighters today, they all want to go to the head. They want to knock you out to the head. I say go to the body, and the punches to the head will come eventually, because once you start banging the body, they start bringing their guards down because they want to protect the body, and that's when you go from the body, bam, to the head. You see? So then you can probably knock him out with a head blow. But work the body, and a lot of these fighters, they don't seem to get it. And I tell the trainers out there, the amateur trainers, you guys want to be better in boxing, you want to go to the professional ranks one day, you have to learn to train these fighters in a professional manner where they can learn how to fight the correct way. Sometimes I say we should maybe have a school for trainers that are starting out, because we need trainers to be in the right the right place at the right time for the right fighters. Now there was a great trainer by the name of Eddie Futch. Now Eddie Futch was one of the great ones. Eddie Futch, his first world champion was back in the 1958, 59, I believe, and it was a fighter by the name of Don Jordan. And Don Jordan was the welterweight champion. And talking about Eddie Futch, I picked up this jacket Saturday night at the Hall of Fame, at the Nevada Boxing Hall of Fame, but in auction. And of course, Papa Smurf, that was the nickname that Riddick Bowe gave Eddie Futch. So when Riddick Bowe became heavyweight champion of the world, he got all these jackets for his team. And Eddie Futch, who was the trainer, one of the great ones, well, you know, Eddie Futch passed away about, I would say, maybe about 8, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. But Eddie Futch, Papa Smurf, was one of the greatest trainers of all times. And that's why I say that trainers, sometimes we have to train the trainers because some of the old guys are no longer around. You got Angelo Dundee, Freddie Brown, who was one of the great ones from back. He trained Roberto Duran. And, you know, Eddie Futch and of course, Manny Stewart passed away. So we really, you have Freddie Roach around today. You have Garcia from LA. And you have a couple of nice up-and-coming fighters that have good trainers. Eddie Mustafa Muhammad is one, another good trainer. You have Mayweather's father, who's a great trainer, and Roger Mayweather, who's also a former world champion. And yes, there's some good trainers out there, but I believe we have to start training some of the younger trainers to raise the bar in a professional level so we can start getting more top-name fighters out there. We do have a bunch of up-and-coming rising stars. Like I said before, we have Canelo Alvarez, Mickey Garcia, and you have the kids from Argentina. There's Matisse. You have a bunch of nice and up-and-coming good fighters, and you have Danny Garcia, another good. His father's a good trainer as well. His father can be brutal at those press conferences, and you know, to get into his fighters, his opponent's head. But you know, it brings a lot of color, a lot of excitement. Maybe sells a lot of tickets for the fight, especially an up-and-coming fight that he will have. I'm sure that will be on pay-per-view, which will be on the undercard of the Mayweather Alvarez fight. Danny Garcia is fighting this other kid from Matisse from Argentina, who's let me tell you, that's going to be a hell of a fight. So you're going to have a great undercard on the main event of September 14th, Mayweather with Alvarez. So guys, with that said, today, goodbye. Talk to you next week.